Welcome to the 5 for 2 podcast with me, your host Adele, where we say no to careers where you're trading 5 days of misery for 2 days of fun. A place we discuss all things career, confidence, and money moves. I want to motivate, teach, and empower ambitious women to achieve more, earn more, feel more confident, and enjoy the work they do. It's all about believing you can have everything you want in your career and then going and getting it. So if you're ready, let's get into it.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode. I'm actually really excited to record this episode because I feel like I'm basically just going to give you the definition of my career and my beliefs and how I'm able to help people change career, get the money they want, how I'm able to do it for myself. Yeah, let's just get into it. If the front door is not giving you access, use the side door or a window. I say this all the time. And I love the statement. Why? Because my career is basically the definition of that statement. If the front door's not open, use a side one. If you guys have been following me all these years, you know that I say it all the time. I say it on stories. I say it in my posts. I'm always talking about the fact. I've probably said it in a previous episode. I almost know for a fact I've said it in a previous episode. If you guys just heard a phone ring a minute ago, it was my daughter calling me. My phone's on silent, but she called me twice so that it broke through the do not disturb. So I'm sorry if you heard the phone ringing. If you didn't, business as usual, let's continue to record. So like I was saying, my career is basically the definition of that statement. I haven't always moved in my career the way we're told to, but I've always been able to get to where I want. And I wish more women knew that there was like the way they've been taught, the one way we've been taught growing up and how to grow our career and how to make money is not the only way. There are about 10 other ways that you may not have even thought of or may not know, but will help you get your career moving in the direction that you want and will give you access to roles that you feel like no one will ever pay attention to you in and money that you feel like you'll never be able to get. Ways that will easily get you the promotions, the money, the career change, basically everything you want. My career is literally proof of that. Not only have I helped myself do it, but I've helped loads of other women be able to do the exact same thing and men. I have helped people be able to create the results they want in their career, literally using this simple statement. A lot of people ask me, how have I been able to become a nursery manager and work my way up in education without having a degree? And the answer to that is quite simple. I'm lazy. And I say that to say this. It's not even that I'm lazy, but like I don't like anything to take a really long time. I'm maybe impatient. Impatience may be a better word, but also, yeah, I'm a little bit lazy. I always look for different ways to get where I want by looking for the easiest and quickest way to get there. I have never liked the length of time you had to study and be in education to be able to get the results and the money that you wanted. It just don't sit right with me. And that's not to take away from people that are focused and go and get their degree and get their education. I never want people to feel like I'm taking away from that. Like I've got a 17-year-old. Oh my gosh, that sounded crazy when I just said it. But yes, I've got a 17-year-old who is doing her A-levels and is going to go off to university. And I'm so proud of her. That's the route she's chosen to take. I think it's a great thing. I think you have to be so disciplined and so focused to go and get a degree and study for 3 or 4 years. Like I think it's such an important thing. But so I don't want people to think I'm taking away from that route. I'm just saying it's not the only route. And I'm also saying when you go out there and get the degree, what happens if you change your mind? Because I want my daughter to know, even if she goes now at 18 and studies and gets the degree that she wants, in 5 years' time, if she don't want to do that anymore, it's okay. And the problem is we're not taught that because we're taught one way to do everything. So for me personally, I figured out how to work my way up in an industry that I really loved being in with minimal qualifications. And initially that was education. I really enjoyed working with children, teaching younger children. And at one point I even went to night school and I did get like a management qualification. I did like a HND and I did do something else, but I was already working at the time. I was already working, I was already making money and I was already a manager at that point. I just decided I didn't want to go and get my degree. Even doing my HND, that literally took me it took me a year, less than a year to do it through night school. But I just didn't feel like a degree was for me. And like I said, I'm a little bit lazy. Those 3 years sound like a long time for me to have to do all that, get into debt and then pay the government back. It wasn't my vibe. And the thing I think is really significant is that when I did get the opportunity to do my degree, it was because my company was going to pay for it. And I think that's really important because I was already managing the nursery. And Ofsted, who, if you're in the UK, regulate all our childcare and education facilities, they started saying that they were going to make it a requirement that all managers had to have their degree. So I've got my MVQ and I've got all that and stuff and I've got my HND, but they were saying you're going to have a degree. You're going to have a degree in early years if you want to keep being a manager. This was many, many years ago, and actually the rule never ended up passing. But at the time, my company thought it was. So what they did was offer to pay for me to do the qualification. And I know a lot of people that have started work and have then let the company pay for them, or the company has liked the work they do so much that they have then paid for them to get a qualification. A friend of mine, her company paid for her to do her CIPD. Like, I know people who have worked their way up and they're already in the position that a lot of people would have told them they couldn't have got without having the degree. So I just wanted to say, I say that part anyway to say this, that if there was only one way to do anything, how is it that I got to management level, working in early years, and then got offered the degree? If you listen to my episode from a couple of weeks ago, I think it's episode 54, I could be wrong, but where I'm talking about the fact that companies don't care about experience or qualifications, they only care about results. This is a prime example. As far as my nursery cared, I was bringing in parents, I was making them a lot of money, I was also saving them a lot of money. I was giving them the exact result that they wanted. I was like one of the top performing managers that they had. They were then willing to pay for me to do a 3-year degree. So I would have been working, getting paid, and not having to pay for that degree. And they were doing that so I could continue working for them because they didn't want to lose me. Not because I had certain experience or a qualification, but because I knew how to deliver them a result. I talk about this in episode 54, so go over there if you want to know how to use those results so that you can get the money you want, get into the industry you want, go and listen to that episode. But I just wanted to say that part because it is further proof that having the specific qualification or having specific experience isn't what companies care about the most. But anyway, yeah, that is basically the explanation of how I got into management within the education sector, but didn't have a degree and still don't have a degree. And that's the reason why I believe my whole career is built on accessing roles through the side door. You guys all know I left education and then got into human resources and recruitment and training and all that good stuff. I have recently shifted and I'm now in client services within sort of procurement in the luxury retail space. So again, I've made another move, another industry change, another shift in my career. Until this day, I still don't have my CIPD for human resources. I do not have a degree. And I definitely didn't have the experience that I'm gaining now in this new role. They interviewed people that had the experience. I didn't, but they still offered me the role because I know how to communicate the results. Again, go and listen to episode 54. I don't even want to go down this rabbit hole because otherwise the episode will be about that again instead of about what I want you to get from this episode, which is careers do not have to be accessed from one route. There are 10 other ways you can get into the career that you're looking for. If you've done a degree and now you don't enjoy the industry you're in, if you've been doing the same work for 10, 15 years and now you don't enjoy it, how are you going to change industry if you only follow the normal route? Go to school, get an education, get the qualification, get the job. If you follow that route, how can you change industry? How are people changing industry every day? How are people getting access to insane salaries when they have less experience than other people? I know people that have got like 5 years experience in something and someone who's got like 10 years experience and the person with 5 years is getting paid like double what the 10-year person is getting paid. People come to me for that reason. They're like, I've been doing this for years and I still think I'm underpaid. And I'm like, okay, let's work together. And then that's how they're getting the 20 and the 30K pay rises. Because if the front door's not letting you in, use the side door. It simply means if you cannot get the way you're currently trying, try something else. If what you want is not happening the way you're doing it, don't change the goal, change the method. I know you've heard that before. Do not change the goal, change the method. Because what you want isn't the problem. The way you're trying to go about it might be. Here's some examples, guys. If you've written a great CV and you still aren't getting shortlisted, start networking. If you're networking and you've been doing it for a really long time and that's not working, upgrade your LinkedIn or your CV. If one company says no, ask another 3 companies. If they say no, ask 5 more. If you're not getting the money you want, start asking in a different way. Because I've been here for years is not a reason to get paid more. I've got 10 years experience is not a reason to get paid more. In those years, what have you done for a company? Explain that part. That's how you get paid more money. Why does your experience matter? How are you saving or making someone money? If you've been at your job a really long time and you know you deserve a pay rise, what have you done for them? Tell them all the results that you have delivered, all the things that you have helped their company do. That's how you get paid more money. If direct access doesn't work, take a side step. I've spoken about this before. When I wanted to get into HR, I started with recruitment. And because of my childcare background, I was like, let me look at recruitment jobs in the childcare sector because that made sense. Let me look for recruitment jobs in the education sector. Let me look for human resources jobs in the education or childcare sector. It's a sidestep because I was using my current industry, but to get into a totally different role. So instead of being in teaching, I wanted to get into HR, but I kept the childcare aspect. So that when I went for interviews, I was like, listen, I know how to speak to childcare people. If I'm a recruiter and I've got to speak to people that are looking for childcare jobs, I'll be able to speak to them. They'll want to work with me. I will understand what the client, your companies want because they're schools. I've worked in schools. I know how to talk to teachers. Like, I'm going to be the perfect fit. That's how I sold it. So if you're currently, I don't know, in hospitality and you want to get into tech, look for tech companies who create tech for the hospitality industry. That's how you use your current knowledge to switch into the new role and also potentially make yourself a little bit more money. We are literally taught that there is only one way to get into a good job, and that is to go to school, get a really good education, start working, get some experience, and then you'll be able to get the promotions, the titles, and all the money that you want from your career. But I'm going to be real with you. How many of you did exactly that, and are still not where you want to be? How many of you followed the route you were told, went to school, got a good education, got the degree, got all the experience, and the money and the promotions and the math just isn't mathing. It's not adding up. You did what you were supposed to do and are still not where you want to be. If you ask me, they lied to us. All of them. Who are they? Society, family, friends. And to be honest, it wasn't that they were lying. It's that they only knew that way. They had our best interests at heart. So they were telling us, you need to do this to be able to achieve this. You have to go to school, get the education, get the degree, and follow this one route. And at 18, you should know what you want to be when you're 30 years old. How are you going to make 18-year-olds do degrees and then say that that's what they want to do for the rest of their life? I know for a fact I'm not the same person at 18 that I am now. I wasn't even the same person at 25 that I was at 18. So what I wanted back then changed so drastically. So it's not even that our family and friends are trying to lie to us. Society is definitely trying to lie to us because they want you to go and put yourself in debt, even if you don't know what you want to study. They still encourage you to go and get a degree, even if you don't know what you want to study. And then you get a degree that you don't even use because it wasn't actually what you wanted to do. But now you're paying back student loans 10 years later. But they told us there was one way because that's what they were taught. And just because every generation's done something doesn't mean it's right. Just because every generation gets taught one way doesn't mean what you were taught was right. I was taught growing up that money's really hard to come by and you've got to have 3-4 jobs and work yourself to the bone just to be able to scrape by. Which CEO do you see has got 3-4 jobs and is scraping by? I don't. So, like I said, just because you've been taught it doesn't make it real. I literally had a conversation with my mum recently and it made me laugh because growing up in a Caribbean household, I was always told you go for the traditional jobs because they pay a lot of money. Doctor, lawyer, accountant. If anyone comes from Caribbean parents or parents like immigrant parents, I'm sure you've heard the same thing like doctor, lawyer, accountant. These are the jobs you have to do. Otherwise, you're not going to have a good life. But I was telling her about a stylist and a photographer that I met recently who get paid 20K or who got paid 20K for 2 hours work, guys. 2 hours. How many GPs? And that means doctors for anyone who's not in the UK. How many doctors you know are making 20K in 2 hours if they're not doing plastic surgery or something else? How many? Tell me. How many GPs? How many accountants and lawyers? Your parents were telling us accountants, doctors, lawyers. How many of them are making 20K in 2 hours? They were telling us, I remember my mum saying to me, all these creative jobs, dancers, photographers, that's not a real job. Babes, if I was bringing home 20K after 2 hours work, would you think it was a real job then? And we laughed about it. Me and my mum laughed about it because it is something we tell our kids. I tell my daughter, pick a serious profession. But who is to say dancing, singing, all the creative arts, being an artist, photography, being a stylist. Who's to say that they are not professional jobs? Who's to say that they are not serious professions? Look at all these TikTokers blowing up and getting famous and then getting deals and brand deals and offers because of that. Look at these 18-year-olds getting paid 4 times what we're getting paid because they didn't go for the serious professions that we were taught to go for. Truth is, a lot of creative roles that people say aren't real jobs are where the money is really at. There are people getting paid tens of thousands of pounds to run social media accounts, tens of thousands of pounds to photograph a couple of models, tens of thousands of pounds to dress someone, to dress a celebrity, to dress a VIP, to dress like high profile clientele. Tens of thousands of pounds. Yet we will still tell our kids the old way. There's only one way to be successful, and that's through the front door. Education, degree, experience. Now you've got everything you wanted in life. What happens when that's not true? What happens when you follow all the rules and still are not happy or still aren't where you want to be? So for all the dreamers, all the people that were told they wouldn't be able to accomplish it because they didn't do things the way they were told, I'm here to tell you, side doors were made for a reason. Windows, back doors were made for a reason. There is more than one way to skin a cat. You've heard that saying before. Apply it to your career. Apply it to your life. Start doing your research. Are there other routes to get to where you want? Do you need to reach out to people in your network to find out how other people made those moves? Do you need to get support from someone like me, a career coach who's going to help you use the experience you have to get the job you want and the money you want? All my ladies who are ready to take the side door, the back door, or the window and want a little support, reach out, because you guys already know Create Your Own Lane is exactly this. It is built off the back of the statement that if the side door's not giving you access, side door, let me repeat that. If the front door's not giving you access, use the side door. I literally designed CYOL off of that. I help every single person who decides to work with me to create a career that they are really happy with and to do it in a way that blows their own mind, because they're like, I never knew half these things, Adele. I never even knew this was possible. Why? Because all the noise, all the society noise, all the family noise, all the expectations that are put on us to do things one way. If you've done all the right things and you've done that way and you're still not where you want to be, reach out. Because again, I will show you how to create the career you want, not the one that you're expected to have. Anyway, this has been a fun episode. Like I said, I knew I was going to enjoy this episode because my whole career is based on the fact that I've been given access to things that so many people tell me are not possible. So many people tell me you can't make that type of money because you don't have a degree or because you don't have the experience. So many people have said to me, oh, there's no way you're going to get that job because they need at least 2 years experience. And then, ta-da, I'm here doing the job, doing the role. And now that same person's asking me, how did I do it? So the next time someone tells you you can't do it, remind yourself, they don't think they can do it. It's got nothing to do with you. Sometimes you need to just say, oh, okay, and then go prove them wrong and take pictures and then do it one more time. Sometimes you have to just go first. When people are telling you it's not possible, you do it and then show them it's possible. And then when they tell you it's luck, you do it again and show them it wasn't luck, it's intention. Anyway, it's been a great episode and I will see you on the next one.
I hope this episode gave you exactly what you needed and motivated you to confidently take steps towards your next career move. If you enjoyed it, screenshot and share it on your socials, tag me on Instagram, and come join my community of amazing women working on leveling up their confidence and career. Thanks for listening and see you next time.